thank you both for taking time out. Obviously, we're here to talk about All the Devils Are Here. I guess, the first question, Barnaby, what was it about John's script and this idea that made you, not only want to direct it, but made this the perfect vessel for your kind of, your feature debut?
Well, I went to John with the idea, and I said, I got the idea from a newspaper article about the grain train robbery and it had this photo album of the house that all the guys were hanging out in Buckinghamshire, in the middle of nowhere in a farmhouse, and I was just like blown away by the photos, by it, that it looked like this little house with like flowery wallpaper and everything, and I just asked myself, well, what did these guys get up to in that house for for the days that they were there? And you've got these hardened criminals stuck in this house, and it's like, what did they do? And then obviously when I came up with the idea, and me and John have worked together a couple of times now, and I went to John, and he loved the idea, and I really just wanted to feel how could we do this, and it's like if I don't get a production, I'll just do it myself, and that's why it was such a chamber piece too.
And for yourself, Bone, what was it about numbers that intrigued you? What made him, be a character that, you wanted to add to your resume?
Okay, we've sort of talked about the similarity to the kind of old English Ealing and West London chamber pieces. So that was what initially sort of drew me to the script was, first of all, what Barnaby and John had come up with, but secondly, that kind of chamber nature of the piece where some of the characters, if you remember, like Alec Guinness and Alistair Sims, and even what Peter Sellers came up with, it was always sort of slightly elevated characters, not so much just naturalistic. They had a real idiosyncrasy to them, and were very sort of interesting, complex characters. So that's always for me the draw really is like, well, this is a morally questionable individual. Is he the same person at the end as he is at the beginning? So that was great.
And the film is full of these like sweeping long conversations and monologues. I mean, I'm guessing that in terms of production, that would have meant a lot of long takes. What did you both kind of enjoy about working in that way?
Well, yeah, I mean it was there was a lot of long monologues, and but it was really beautiful. It was really it could what because it really what it did was you could just you got absorbed so much into these dialogues, okay, and normally a lot of films, they obviously, the pace gets going because you move to this location, you move to that location, and you move from room to room or something like that. But really, we just had what we had in this piece, and we had to rely on what we had. So we had to create the atmosphere, create the feeling, not just with the set around them. We had, and that was such a huge character. It was the set around them, and then bringing it into this where they are, and bringing the every single move that they had to do, and power moves and everything like that. And it was like a game of chess almost, and that really inspired me, and it was hopefully you don't see it on screen, it's like, but it takes you through it, but it's like then you look back at it and you think, oh, it was just full it's just like full of monologues and people chatting.
I was actually not party to it, to a lot of the long monologues, being up numbers, having his own room upstairs, etc., etc. So it's really nice watching the film for the first time and seeing essentially, especially with Eddie and Sam, that Eddie's character sort of sits like a mossy stone at the bottom of a well. There's a kind of weight to him and a morality to him that he explains through his monologues. There is a theatrical element to it, but I thought that Eddie's performance in particular was so sort of grounded and real that I was very much drawn into that. We endure their sort of having to be, we endure them being stuck together as an audience as well as them as characters, don't we?
And what a fantastic cast, how was it kind of, getting to work with, Eddie and Sam and people?
For me, first of all, it was definitely Eddie's involvement that really piqued my interest. I'm a long-term fan of Eddie. I know he's an absolute mensch and a wonderful person as well, but just to work with him is a real career highlight. He's one of our best. and obviously he just you get elevated when you've got someone like Eddie or Sam or Tienne or Rory, you know, um, in the room with you as an actor. You're just sort of lifted as well. It was a real pleasure, and Suki as well. So.
For me, as you said, it's my first film, and I had Eddie in my scope, but I never thought, oh, well, okay, is there a chance? And then he came on, and it was just amazing. And then we got Burn and Tienne, and actually Sam Grady's character was actually one of the last ones to come on, and I'd actually worked with Sam before. I photographed him years ago after he did Pirates or something like that, and he came and he was just brilliant, and I must say that, and I think I'm lucky, obviously, because I did have such a great cast and everything, but there was a really good feeling above it with everyone, and there's a really good momentum with everyone, and I feel like they kept that in the room all the time. We had that good atmosphere, and it was just like, it was a pleasure to work every day. It was a pleasure to work with all of them.
See, it's a fantastic film. This, it's a great story, great performances. Best of luck with the release, guys.
Thank you so much. Nice to meet you.